Alright guys, hey, what's up? Zeus here. And I'm gonna be honest, I'm not gonna waste time. I'm just gonna get right to it. Hullabaloo's broke. He's broke. He's broke. He's broke. There's no sugarcoating it. This fucking hunter is just broken. I don't know what kind of crack they were snorting when they thought that making this hunter was a good idea, considering the hunter meta as it is already, especially in the competitive lens. But this guy is broken. I'm gonna be honest. If you think that he's not broken, then feel free to tell me why. But I'm gonna explain every reason of why I think this fucker is completely broken, and I'll also go over through some counter picks and counterplay that I see with him for potential to make him mildly bearable. But this hunter is just beyond me. When I said that his cooldowns would make or break his character, I wasn't joking. I was not joking. Wow. I guess people are really not taking a liking to me saying that this guy is broken, huh? Judging by the Twitter notification count. Let's see how high it goes after this. Alright. So, number one, first and foremost, we are going to go over his cooldowns. So, as we can see, shout out to IdentityV Art, very credible source. They've done leaks multiple times over the course of the years. So yeah, shout out to them. So here we have his cooldowns for his tier 0 presence, which is the clone creation, and his tier 1 being the jump. So the clone cooldown it's an 11-second cooldown, which is absolutely asinine for something that he can make twice of in one usage. So over the course of 10 seconds, he can use 2 clones, and then it only has an 11-second cooldown. That is faster than old Blood Queen's mirror. This like that is faster than old Blood Queen mirror. The old Blood Queen mirror used to have a cooldown of 12 seconds. Like, that was old BQ mirror. Old BQ mirror. When she was still at her peak brokenness. That was with an 11-second cooldown. That was with a 12-second cooldown. This fucker just out the gate has a faster cooldown and can still practically throw the thing like a BQ mirror. Because the thing goes up to 42 meters. So yeah, that's totally cool. Every 11 seconds, he can just spawn 2 clones on you, just like that. And at that, he can control the cooldown. So yeah, totally fun. His jump, he can hold up to 3 jumps per time, and each jump only has a 14-second charge time. So in less than a minute, he'll be back to having all 3 jumps. So every 42 seconds, he can use 3 jumps on your ass. Which is, again, totally fair, totally fucking fun. Totally amazing, man. Totally fucking amazing to use, man. It's beautiful. It's insane. It's amazing, you know? Totally fun. Totally fair. With already Goatman, Opera, and Ivy existing. Totally fun to have to try and kite this thing. That has an 11-second cooldown. On a practical Blood Queen mirror. Now we're gonna get into the crackhead shit of what his jumps can do in a bit, but I want to discuss this now because people have been calling me crazy for whatever fucking reason, saying that I'm losing my mind and I am doing the most, and I just can't see how you can think that I am doing the most when in a competitive world we already have 3 round 1 viable hunters, and this guy is looking like he's gonna be a 4th. I don't know how people can say that I am doing the most and I am overreacting when this guy is looking like a 4th option for round 1. There are potentially now 4 round 1 viable hunters. Every single round is round 1 practically, except on the survivor's end, the characters just get weaker and weaker and weaker and weaker. And I don't know, and I don't know how people can think that I'm just like I'm batshit crazy over this. I just don't understand it. I don't understand how people can think I'm batshit crazy over this thing. Because let me break this down to you. People are hyper fixating. Like, I've had so many people talk to me about, oh, but he has to have 6 hits. He has to have 6 hits. Let's look at his base stats. His movement speed is 5.34. Dream Witch main body is 6.08. And then Anne, which is the fastest moving hunter, I guess, which is why this is an example, is 4.73. The average movement speed for a hunter is 4.64. That is the average movement speed for a hunter. 4.64. This motherfucker is 0.7 meters per second faster than every hunter in the game. Meaning that this fucker, when he starts chasing you, he's going to be on your ass immediately. There is no stopping him. There is no there is no like keeping distance against this hunter or looping this hunter, because if you loop this hunter, you are killing yourself, because he moves so fast that you will not be able to exit his range without using an ability. And if you end up going into the red, then now you don't get to use your ability to transition at all. His attacks are spammable because there's no attack recovery in between. So that means if he's on your ass, which as we can see, he will always be on your ass, he just spam until you get hit with all three colors. And if you think, oh, well, if I just stay in one color, he won't be able to touch me. He just sets up a clone with a different color to then force you to run back into him so he can rotate the stage to put on a different color, or you take a different color from the clone that he can use two of. Like, I don't understand how people think I'm overreacting here. I don't. Like, are we using our heads here? Like, are we using our brains for this one? I've had people tell me that, oh, like, again, we're gonna get to it. We already see the precursor of this fucker jumping over, like, you know, the bridge at Moonlit River Park, right? What is that? What is that? What is that? What is this? What the fuck is that? I want to know, what is that? Geisha can't do that. Through something that thin, Geisha cannot do that. And that's her whole gimmick. Lizard cannot do that. And his whole thing is jumping through and over shit. I don't understand. Like, the justification. Lizard can do it. Lizard can do it. Lizard is not spamming an attack on me while moving at 5.3 meters per second, along with summoning clones to apply colors to me to cut me off in tight kiting areas with whatever the fuck that is. Genuinely, like, why? Like, what is this? I don't understand how people think that I'm, like, losing my mind for no reason here. I just don't can someone explain to me if I'm schizophrenic, please? Like, can someone explain to me if I am schizophrenic? Some kind of, like, not up there mentally, because there is no way you can look at all these things and theorize all these things and think to yourself, yeah, this is gonna be okay. This is gonna be balanced for the fucking game. This is gonna be perfectly fine. Because let me explain to you how a kite should go for this fucker right here. I'm gonna tell you right now how it should go. So, you're gonna do your little spawn selection. We're not even gonna give him Moonlit, because Moonlit is his bitch. Okay, if you play this fucker on Moonlit, just surrender yourself up to the hunter. GG's. Moonlit is his bitch. He can do whatever the fuck he wants on the map. It does not matter. It's his fucking plaything, right? So for argument's sake, I'll give you fucking, let's say, I'll give you, we'll say Ever Sleeping. We'll say Ever Sleeping or Chinatown. One of the two. Your preference for this example, because they're both practically interchangeable maps. Because they're both two of the most common pick maps, right? So let's say that, right? Ever Sleeping or Chinatown. So this is how a chase is going to go. You're going to pick your character, right? You're going to pick a decent character. Let's say you hop on something like, I don't know. Who's a character that's, like, used a lot right now? Let's say you hop on some shit like, we'll say for argument's sake, Psychologist or Seer, for example, because they're both 3-hit characters. Because the common argument right now is that tanking is going to be the way to go against this fucker. And yes, I see it. Tanking, it's going to be the same tank hit bullshit meta that we've been seeing now for a while now, right? So let's say you're on Seer or Psych, right? So this fucker, you're gonna do your little spawn selection, right? You're gonna spawn if let's say you're a Seer, you're gonna spawn in your little area, right? This fucker, you're gonna take your like 10 to 15 seconds to rotate it right now in the beginning of the match while you're trying to set yourself up in a kiting area, because you know you're gonna get kite, right? So this fucker comes up to you. He has insolence, because if you're not running insolence on this fucker, you're actively doing yourself a disservice. So I'm already setting the build. This is a Sui build Seer, and this is an insolence. This is an insolence carrying Hullabaloo, because insolence is what he should be carrying, and Seer practically only runs Sui build in tournament anyway, right? So you're chasing your Seer, right? The Seer is about to go to a window. Clone. The Seer vaults the window. He gets a debuff from the clone. You keep on chasing him at moving at your 5.34 meters per second. You use another clone, because in 10 seconds you can use 2 clones. So now that's 2 debuffs. You're on cooldown now for 11 seconds. While that's happening, you catch up. You hit him with your final one. The Seer uses his owl, right? That's 1 hit. You got 1 hit. Insolence has already been building up, which means you're practically at first presence. You're practically at your first presence by now. At this point, you are at first presence because of the insolence buildup. Now that its insolence was also buffed, that it builds up faster, and then at that builds up all the way to full presence. So now after 1 hit, you are at first presence. Now you have your fucking bullshit ass jump. So once again, it's been now about 11 seconds. Your clones are back, except now you have a jump. So now it has been 22 seconds, right? 11 seconds for the first set of clones. Now another 11 seconds for the second set of clones to start up. So it has now been 22 seconds, right? So now that you have your fuck-ass jump that builds up every 14 seconds, and you can hold up to 3 of them, meaning you have 3 jumps every 42 seconds, you once again, you see the Seer transitioning to another pallet or window. You then throw a clone to either cut him off or scare him. You now get your debuff on him, because he can't do shit. He cannot do anything. If he walks into the range of the clone, then he gets hit by the debuff. If he doesn't, then he's gonna get hit by you, because you just move that fucking fast. Oh, the Seer is now going to attempt to tight kite you, because he has nowhere to transition, because you move that fast, and he wants to make use of the window speed boost in order to be able to loop the area effectively. Boom, you put a clone at the center of the loop. Can't do anything once again. That is yet another debuff. Now he drops the pallet on you. You jump over the pallet, because that animation is quite literally the fastest thing to ever fucking touch the planet, and now you have a third debuff right there. So now in 33 seconds, he has taken 2 hits. And he is only alive because of the fact that he is a Seer and because he is a tank. Keep in mind, yet again, this fucker has no attack recovery, and rinse repeat the last 2 steps that I just stated for the 3rd hit. And if you do, you will see that the kite lasted for maybe 50 seconds. A 50-second kite in a tournament is not good enough. It is not good enough. That is a losing kite. You are not winning off a 53-second kite. Added on to the fact that because this fucker has insolence, and because you're chasing a tank character, you are now at full presence practically after first chair. You are now at full presence, which means that now you only need to apply 2 colors to get a hit now. Because the previous color that you added to deal damage will now automatically be added onto the survivor. So now you only need 2 hits to get a color, and guess what you have 2 of? Clones. Like, are we understanding now? Like, are we really understanding, like, just like how insanely stupid this character is now? Because people are hyper fixating on he needs 6 hits, no cooldowns, moves fast as shit, has 2 clones that can apply debuffs from up to 42 meters away. The debuffs at that last a minute long and refresh every time he hits you. You can't loop against him because he'll set up clones to anti-loop. He has a fast-ass jump. That means that he can just ignore pallets, windows, and everything. And as we can see in the video that's been replaying endlessly on loop for the last couple of minutes now, he can just ignore the map. He can just ignore the fucking map. He can just choose to say, I'll just do this. And it'll work out for him. He just does that. Look, I just don't get it. I don't get it how people are trying to convince me that I'm doing the most and that I'm overreacting right now. I don't. Because it doesn't take a genius to see like that this is just broken. It doesn't take a genius to see that this is fucking asinine with all the extra shit. You mean to tell me that on top of the fact that he has no attack recovery, on top of the fact that he moves at 5.34 meters per second, on top of the fact that he has a fucking clone that can not a clone, that he has a fucking jumping ability, you can't tight kite him, you can't transitional kite him. What are you supposed to do? Oh, the only thing I can think of, right, for counterplay is keeping distance early game to make him mildly bearable. Because in the early game he is mildly bearable, but once he gets the jump is when he becomes cancerous. My only counterplay for him right now is just characters that are gods at making distance. Characters that are literal gods at making distance. Other than that, it is done. That and Cypher Rush, which is that about it. And people like to say he has no camp, he has no map pressure. Neither did Opera Singer. Opera Singer has proven that it does not matter what you do not have if you can outspeed the pace of the literal game itself with chase. People thought Opera Singer was going to be mid on release because they were thinking, well, she has no map pressure and she has no cam, so you could easily sell and Cypher Rush against her, easy draws. And what happened when she released? She was a demon. She was terrorizing the game for over a year. Now, after a year and a half, she is what people thought she was going to be on release. After a year and a half. Opera Singer has already proven you don't need camp and cipher pressure to be a god if your chase is just that fucking cancer. And people are out here trying to convince me that I'm losing my mind. Like, no. Like, we're just genuinely not playing the same game. And I can think of counter picks. Like, I've already seen it. The counter picks one I can think of first. So the tank characters. Psych, Puppeteer, and Seer, right? You have 3 tanky... Oh, and Gardener. Can't disregard Gardener. You have 4 tank hit characters, right? You have 4 characters that can tank to do him. You also have Gravekeeper, who can just go underground and not be affected by him at all, which is great. That's 5 counter picks, right? And except for the fact that if you counterpick the Hullabaloo, then you still have to deal with a Goatman, Opera, or an Ivy. Because Gravekeeper gets countered by Ivy. Seer gets soft countered by Ivy. Psych is just a naked kiter, so she gets absolutely raw dogged by a fucking Goatman or a fucking Opera Singer. Gardener's 50-50 against Ivy. She's okay. She's great against Opera, which gotta respect. I don't really know how she'll be that good against Goatman, considering that he just locks off the area, and if you stand still to try to get bubble, you're just giving yourself a free hit. So, Goatman is, like, wonky. It's like, you try to put your all into, like, well, there are survivors that counter him, but then completely you act as if he's the only hunter in the game that's on this level. Like, it's just, like, you can't just, like, say, well, counter comp him, and then completely disregard that Opera, Ivy, and Goatman exist. It just doesn't work like that. It doesn't. The same thing can be said in tournaments. Oh, just counter comp him. Alright, well, you burned Gravekeeper, Gardener, and Psychologist in round 1 to counter comp the Hullabaloo, except the Hunter decided to go Ivy. Or the Hunter decided to go Goatman, and you still ended up losing anyway, because... guess what? That team comp gets counter-comped by Goatman or Ivy. And now you just completely lost 3 characters that counter Hullabaloo, as well as now at a deficit. And you can't do anything about it, because those 3 characters are universally banned for the rest of the set. And your character pool is now way more limited than before, because at the start of round 2, now you have 3 universal bans on top of 4 bans already. And then the next 3 characters that you pick then also get universally banned for the next following round. So, I just throw my hands up and pray, man. I just throw my hands up and pray. I don't know. I don't know what they were thinking. I don't know, like, if, like, there was just somebody in there that was, like, that really decided to just that really just decided to smoke weed before clocking in at netease HQ. Like, I don't know. Like, were you guys drunk when you made this character, genuinely? Like, was there just, like, was there alcohol at the table in any way? Like, was there some kind of substance abuse at the table when we were theory crafting how to make Hullabaloo? Because I genuinely can't see how you as the game developers can see the state of the game is very hunter-sided right now. It has been very hunter-sided since the release of Ivy. And you thought it was okay to not only release Goatman, which made the game even more hunter-sided, but then decided to release this fucking cancer. I don't know, bro. Like, this character needs to be nerfed in some way. Like, next season for survivors, just throw your hands up in prayer. counter comp 100 and pray to God that you get matched with like that one trick Nightmare, that one trick like Gamekeeper, that one trick Hellumber, that one trick Ripper player. Like, throw your hands up in prayer. Because remember, guys, Griffin for season reset, we only get 100 ban. So out of Goatman, Opera, Ivy, and Hullabaloo, pick your poison. Because you get rid of one and you still have to deal with the other three. Champion, you get rid of two, you still got to deal with the other two. So, yeah, pick your poison, survivors. Because next season is going to be actually the worst season in IdentityV history to be a survivor. I have been here since the beginning of the game. There has not been a worse season until season 35 next season. Next season will legitimately be the absolute worst fucking season to main survivor. And this is coming from someone that has been here since the beginning. I have been through every single meta, both on a hunter and a survivor end. Like, I don't know, bro. I just don't understand, man. Like, this is so asinine to look at. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. I know this was like a rant / vent style kind of vid. It's just like I'm just in utter disbelief. Yeah. That's just gonna be it for the video. I will catch y'all in the next one. Peace out.